Good afternoon and welcome to your class in Natsai 22, Agricultural Biology. So, I already posted your midterm exam, so please, you're given a specific time and due date for that. So, please answer your midterm exam. And for today's video, we're going to have our topics, our lessons still under Unit 2. So last time we are done with the plasma membrane. So take a look on the posted video. And now we're going to talk about another important metabolic process for plants and for all living organisms on Earth, photosynthesis. So I know you are very familiar with what is photosynthesis. So um, it's actually involves anabolic or small molecules combination and endergonic or for the stores or storage energy, and the carbon dioxide CO2 requiring process that use light energy, photons, and water to produce organic molecules or glucose. So I hope you have already come to familiarize with the formula for photosynthesis, which is the carbon dioxide with water on the presence of sun and even chlorophyll in the leaves of plants to produce glucose or C6H12O6 and with the release of oxygen. So where does photosynthesis take place? Of course, we all know that plants are the food makers or food producers in all of the ecosystem. But they're not the only one as well. But they are so-called autotrophs, which produce their own food through glucose. So where humans and living other organisms are depending on plants as source of food. So this process is called photosynthesis, which mainly occurs in the lids, in the stomach, pores, and mesophyll cells. In the mesophyll cell, where chloroplasts are located, and this is the stoma or stomata. The pores in a plant's cuticle through which water vapor and gases, the carbon dioxide and oxygen, are exchanged between the plant and the atmosphere. So this part here is where photosynthesis takes place or starts with the exchange of carbon dioxide and water vapor. As we all know, the first formula to produce glucose is water and carbon dioxide, which are found underside of leaves, more of underside of the leaves. So this is typically the mesophyll cell of the leaf, the cell wall, the nucleus, the chloroplast, and the central vacuole. And photosynthesis occurs in these cells, of course. And this is a typical feature of a chloroplast. It's the organelle where photosynthesis takes place, which composed of the inner and outer membrane, the stroma, the thylakoid, and the granum. The thylakoid stalks are connected to each other, actually, and they are involved greatly in the photosynthesis. So this is the closer figure of the thylakoid membrane and the granum, which makes up the inner membrane. So why are plants green? So I hope you have asked that question before, and it's because of the chlorophyll molecules, which are located in the thylakoid membranes. And chlorophyll have the magnesium in the center. The chemical formula for chlorophyll has the magnesium at the center, as you can see here. And the chlorophyll pigments harvest energy, photons, by absorbing certain wavelengths from 420 nanometer, or the blue, and red 660 nanometer are the most important for photons or wavelength absorption. And plants are green because the green wavelength is reflected and not absorbed. As you can see, only this on the wavelengths that are actually absorbed are the blue, 420 to red, 660 nanometer. These are the ones that are being absorbed by the plant, and that's why the green color is what is reflected in the wavelength, and that's why green leaves are color green because of the green reflection. So this is the typical chemical structure of the chlorophyll A. So we have two chlorophyll, chlorophyll A and the chlorophyll B, and we will discuss further each difference later. So as again, the magnesium is at the center of the chlorophyll. So the wavelength that I am talking about is the short wave to long wave wavelength in nanometer. So this comprises the 400 to 700 nanometer from blue to red. So the absorption of light by chlorophyll is shown on this figure, where chlorophyll absorbs the blue, violet, and red light best, as you can see, while the green is not, and yellow to orange. So that's why green is reflected in the leaves. So during the fall, what causes the leaves to change colors? So we all know when that's called deciduous and the evergreens. And the evergreens will not change in color throughout the year, but the trees with the deciduous trees or plants will change color from green to colorful other pigments, and they eventually, you know, fall into the leaves, like what you have seen in the Korean movies and in the some parts of beautiful fall color, you know, of trees. So in addition to the chlorophyll pigments, other pigments are, during the fall, the green chlorophyll pigments are greatly reduced, revealing the other pigments. So since they are already reflected, so the reflection of the green color is being reduced. So therefore, the other colors that are being absorbed, that the carotenoids are, which are either red, orange, or yellow under carotenoids pigments, and the red and purple is under anthocyanins are being revealed. So the redox reaction is this transfer of one or more electrons from one reactant to the other. So this is two types, oxidation and reduction, and it's the loss of electron, oxidation, while reduction is the gain of electron. In an oxidation reaction, the loss of electrons from a substance or the gain of oxygen. So as you can see here, carbon dioxide and water are being are under the process of oxidation as it gain oxygen. No? While in a reduction pattern, as you can see, the gain of electrons to a substance or the loss of oxygen. So carbon plus water, wherein an oxygen is reduced with the glucose. So the action is oxidation reduction. So why do cells use for energy? Energy for life on Earth is through the sunlight. This is the ultimate energy for all life on Earth. And plant stores energy in the chemical bonds of sugar, called chemical energy, which is released as adenosine triphosphate during cellular respiration. So on the next video, we're going to talk about cellular respiration as well. So the structure of ATP It stands for adenosine triphosphate and is composed of the nitrogen-based adenine, which is pentose 5 sugar ribose, and 3 phosphate groups. So the last phosphate group is bonded with a high energy chemical bond, and these are broken to release energy or cells for use. So removing a phosphate from ATP is breaking the last phosphate bond from ATP to release energy for cells to use, which form the ADP or adenosine diphosphates, which is a free phosphate group. This is shown on this high energy phosphate bond, as you can see on the figure. So the free phosphate can be reattached to adenosine diphosphate reforming ATP within the process called phosphorylation. So this can be attached. So in a phosphorylation, the energy from sunlight or from food in this chemical formula of the inorganic phosphate is produced with energy available for cellular work and for chemical synthesis, and the whole process is known as phosphorylation. So what are the parts of photosynthesis? There are two, no? The light reaction or the light-dependent reaction, which produces energy from solar power photons in the form of ATP and NADPH or from the sun. So you always thought that photosynthesis takes place with the presence, of course, of sunlight. But the other idea is also that it has two reactions. It's during light reaction, and the other one is through independent light reaction, or known as the Calvin cycle. So the photosynthesis actually happens with and without the presence of sunlight. But it must first start with the presence of sunlight. So the second part, therefore, is the Calvin cycle or the light-independent reaction, also called as the carbon fixation or C3 fixation, which uses ATP and NADPH from light reaction to make sugar or glucose. So this is the light reaction or the electron flow, which occurs in the silicon membranes. During the light reaction, there are two possible routes for the electron flow: the cyclic electron flow and the non-cyclic electron flow. So in the cyclic electron flow, it occurs in the silicon membrane and uses the photosystem 1 with a P700 reaction center in the chlorophyll A and uses electron transport chain or ETC that generates ATP only, no? So what ADP and in photosystem 1 to produce ATP. So in the cyclic electron flow, you can see here in the photosystem 1 the different chemical reactions that are happening in order to produce ATP by the ETC. So pigments absorbs the light energy and the excitation of the E electrons of chlorophyll to produce ATP. In the non-cyclic electron flow, however, it occurs in the silicon membrane and uses the photosystem 2 and 1 in the P680 reaction center or PS2 chlorophyll A. While in the P700 reaction center, it's PS1 or chlorophyll A, and uses electron transport chain, the ETC, to generate oxygen, ATP, and NADPH. So this is shown on the figure here. We're in both, first in the photosystem 2 and the photosystem 1. So you might be asking why chronologically it doesn't start with the photosystem 1. So it starts with photosystem 2, but it's because of chronological discoveries of the two photosystems. So photosystem 2 were discovered first before the photosystem 1. So water is split in the photosystem 2 and ATP is made, while the energy carrier NADPH is made in the photosystem 1. So during the non-cyclic electron flow, the ADP, again in photosystem 1, is produced with ATP and an ADPH and hydrogen 2 and ADPH. So oxygen comes from the splitting of water and not the carbon dioxide. So water is produced with oxygen and splitting of the hydrogen. So we have the so-called chemiosmosis, wherein it powers ATP synthesis, takes place across the follicle membrane, and uses ATC and ATP synthase as an enzyme. So hydrogen ions move down their concentration gradient through channels of ATP synthase, forming ATP and the ADP. This is known as the chemiosmosis. So as shown as on the figure here. In the thylakoid, so the proton pumping and ATP synthase and hydrogen concentration. So this is known as the chemiosmosis. So the carbon cycle itself, we are now on the light-independent reaction of carbon fixation, wherein the main product is C3 plants. I mean the C3, carbon C3, and that's why the classification of plants are known as the C3 plants, wherein 80% of the plants on Earth, most of the crops that we have undergoes with this process with a 3 carbon product, so known as the C3 plants. So most plants are C3 plants, and this occurs in the stroma, which uses ATP and NADPH from light reaction as energy and uses carbon dioxide to produce glucose, as it takes 6 turns and uses 18 ATP and 12 NADPH. So this is where the stroma or carbon cycle occurs in the chloroplast. So this is the C3 fixation under the C3 plants, or known as the Calvin cycle. So the C3 is it's actually a cycle. So if you would ask now, where does it start? So since it's a cycle, so it's always starts and always continues from anywhere of the points. So so this is the whole cycle, and this is to produce glucose. So you have here the RUBP with the 6 carbon and 30 carbons, and then it's became unstable and produced into 6CC with 36 carbons and 6 carbons to produce glucose. And again, it goes around for 30 carbons to, again, the whole process. So the carbon cycle is C3 to produce the 3 carbon glucose. So photorespiration is another chemical process that occurs on hot, dry, bright days, wherein stoma is closed, the stomata of the leaf closed, during the fixation of oxygen instead of carbon dioxide. So this produces 2 carbon molecules instead of the 3 carbon sugar molecules. So it produces no sugar molecules or no ATP at all. So this is called as the photorespiration, because plants have special adaptation to limit the effect of photorespiration, and these are known as the C4 plants and the CAM plants. So we have therefore 3 classification of plants based on photosynthesis reaction. No, we have the 80 which compose the 80% of all plants in the earth, which is C3, and then the second is C4 and CAM, wherein they are the photorespiration. At this time, this occurs in a very hot, dry. So because of a very hot, dry condition, the stomata will close in order to fix oxygen instead ng carbon dioxide. Therefore, 2 carbons molecules lang ang kanilang ma-fix. So these are the C4 plants. They thrive mostly in the hot, moist environments, and this composes 15% of the plants. That includes grasses, corn, and sugarcane. They are under C4 plants. And photosynthesis occurs in 2 places: during the light reaction in mesophyll cells and during Calvin cycle in the bundle sheath cells. So the C3 plants don't have the bundle sheath cells. It's only the C4 plants which has the bundle sheath cell. So in the production of the malate sugar in the mesophyll cell and the glucose through the pyruvic acid in the bundle sheath cell. So another third type of plant is the cressolation acid metabolism, or the CAM plants. They also occur in hot, dry environments and composes 5% of the plants, like the cactus and the ice plants. And again, the stomata close during day, but they open during the night. And they also undergoes the light reaction during the day, and Calvin cycle occurs when carbon dioxide is present, since they close during day and open on the night. So the differences actually so this is what occurs in the CAM plants, the cressolation acid metabolism, wherein in night the stomata only open at night and close on day. So the carbon, the malate, the pep, the malate, and the vacuole is converted into glucose and then undergoes the pyruvic acid, or the Calvin cycle again. So why do CAM plants close their stomata during the day? CAM plants close their stomata in the hottest part of the day in order to conserve water. As you can see, the cactus in the desert or on the very hot, dry environment it's so dry, so through photorespiration, they must conserve water, so they close stomata during day and open only on night. So there are 3 actually mechanisms, and the rest of the plants that do not qualify for CAM and for C4 plants are called as C3 plants, which most plants or crops we have already. So if you have questions regarding the different types of this photosynthesis mechanisms, so please just comment on the posted video for your questions, and hope to see you again on the next video, which is about respiration. So thank you for watching.